All right. So, welcome, gentlemen. In this session, we'll be talking about how to fabricate luck for projects. So, I'm excited about this because this is something new. I mean, in all my time in project management trainings and studying project management, no one has really talked about luck. But in my experience, especially for projects that are my personal projects, like bringing my personal ideas to reality. I find that luck is very important. So, and also this is not talked about because professional project managers, they focus on um, executing what they're paid to execute, which are ideas of other people. Like for instance, ideas of a business. You're hired to bring a proposal to reality. So, but if it's your personal project, or you're a CEO of a company, or you have a lot of power over the vision of the company, you have more leeway in terms of changing your project or midway. So, I think a lot of um, the users or the buyers of this ebook have their own use project management for their own projects. So I think this would be more relevant. Personally, this has been, excuse me, quite relevant for me, fabricating luck. So these are based on two realities which are frequently, what you call this, neglected in project management. First is that the good things that we could predict are very small compared to the good things that we could predict. In the future, if you go to the future, maybe it's a few months, there are many good things that could happen. Most of them are things we could not predict. The second reality is that our future selves are almost always smarter than our present selves. Smarter, they know more, and then things are just, and then technology progresses. So the we want to be able to take advantage of the good changes that would bring us toward the same vision that why we did a project in the first place. So that's something I've been thinking a lot about in the past couple of years, and I applied this last year for my project, Accessible Genomics, and it seems to be working. So I want to share this in this ebook as well, or our book as well. So the key questions are: how do you increase your good fortune? How do you become more lucky? Second, how do you notice that you are getting lucky? And third, how do you exploit your luck? So, first, are tools for increasing good fortune. So, the what you call this um, main tool here is increasing your luck surface area. I like the summary. So, concept of luck surface area came about in the, I think, early 2000s. I forget his name, Jason something. He said that the amount of serendipity that will occur in your life, your luck surface area, is directly proportional to the degree to which you do something you're passionate about, combined with the total number of people to whom it is effectively communicated. So, it's summarized in this visualization. This is just it's pretty nice. It's really just doing and telling. So you do a lot of doing and do a lot of telling. So this is like if you're not unlucky, and this is the lucky person. So you have some control over how lucky you get by doing a lot and telling a lot. So we'll now later on I'll try to apply that to this project here, the example project here. How do I do more and tell more? Um, so we could use this framework or this table later. So this is like similar to our communications plan. So we want, like, instead of stakeholders, who are our sources of serendipity? What's the content of our message to them? What do we tell them? The medium of that communication and the owner of that communication. No, I should add here the timing. When do we do that communication? Another framework for expanding luck is like, how do you expand your luck in the based on the four types of luck? One is the four types of luck are first dumb luck. You don't do anything; it just happens to you. It just happens to you. Second is luck from action, meaning you just do a lot of things, so you get lucky because you have a lot of action. Third kind of luck is your luck from your expertise. So you see good fortune because you are deep into a certain domain. So you're an expert in a certain, for instance, if you're an expert in genomics, you will see that there's a fast what you call this lowering of the cost of sequencing, no? Happening right now. So if you know that, and you know the what happened with computing and Moore's law, so you sort of see what would happen there. So it's because you're deep into a certain domain. The fourth type of luck is luck from your reputation, because people know you are good at something. Like for instance, an example is like if you are an expert deep sea diver, and you specialize in um, diving for, I don't know, sunken treasures or something like that. So if someone finds a sunken treasure, so they will call you. You just sort of, because you have that reputation. So those are the four types of luck. So later on, we will try to apply this for our project. And then also it's important that we notice that we are getting lucky. So sometimes we are so deep into our projects that we fail to notice that there's good fortune happening right now. So the tools that I thought up here are the daily gratitude list. So when you're thankful of things happening to you, you are more appreciative of them. And then with that, you could notice that, hey, there's something good happening here. Maybe this is my lucky break. And then the huddle is a monthly meeting I do with fellow entrepreneurs. I think this is super one of the most helpful things I've done in the past years in terms of professional growth. That I'm with people who are playing more or less the same game as I am, at the same more or less stage. So like entrepreneurship at like maybe like not yet at the scaling stage, it's the startup stage. So we are, we share and help each other. We share our struggles, we share our wins. Um, yeah, so it's that's something that's been helpful in exploiting good fortune or noticing good fortune. Third are the tools for exploiting good fortune, meaning if you see good fortune that happens to you, um, how do you now exploit it? The first is that you have to have slack. If things are too tight, even though you get lucky, you won't have time you to or money to actually bring that luck to reality or apply that luck to yourself. So what I found helpful was this exercise um, I encountered in this complex goal crafting intensive, but I made some improvements here. Um, yeah, so I did this for my personal, what you call this, my personal projects, and you have different aspects, categories of where you have slack. So time, financial resources, shelter, food, transportation, and other aspects. So the question now is like, what is our source of slack in these areas? What are the sources of tightness, the lack of slack, and how do we increase the slack or reduce tightness? So we'll see. Let's do this as well for this particular project. So, and lastly, to upgrade your projects. So this is really at the level of managing your company or your institution. So you have different projects going on, but always resources of time and money are limited. So sometimes, well, the enemy of the best is the good, or something like that. So meaning the good projects may take away time and money from the best projects. So you want to be clear on where you want to focus on. And sometimes it may mean that this new opportunity might need you to kill your existing projects. So that has to be some. I mean, that's a hard decision because we have this what you call this cognitive bias. The um, what you call that when you spend so much on something and you couldn't move on from that. Uh, sunk cost fallacy. So we have a lot of sunk costs in some projects which we have been doing, and it's difficult sometimes to do that. So before we apply these tools to an actual project, do you have any questions, Bruno and Ashish?
All right, it's interesting.
Mhm. Okay, let me place this in the sidebar and see so that we could go to our project. So we'll apply this to our project called Resolve Crowdfunding, which is a crowdfunding project. Let's make a page for this. Have you guys encountered something like this in the past? I mean, a framework for increasing serendipity or luck or something like that?
Not myself. I was yesterday on a talk about AGL. Oh, sorry, Ashish, I didn't hear you.
Oh, no, I was muted. I thought you were talking.
Okay. I was saying I was in a talk yesterday about agile project management, and the
Mhm.
lady Laura Klein was complaining that people apply agile so strictly that they don't get any benefit from it. And I think that's a little bit what you are explaining today to us is that project management is more than just checking marks on the schedule.
Yeah, ultimately,
Uh,
yes, go ahead, Ashish.
Sorry. So I thought this is a very interesting topic. And I was about to write in the chat that I've never read anything like this in the context of project management. So I'm really enjoying listening to you, Khalil, on this. Now, on the luck element, because my project has to do with something for a spiritual interest group. Um, so we start our meetings with a prayer. Every time the group meets, one of us will say a prayer and then wish for success of the project, of the team, and for the team to get the right knowledge to do the right thing. So it's very interesting that you put it in a framework. I thought it was more a weird thing that we do.
Cool, cool. All right. So now, actually, I haven't formalized this. This is my first attempt to actually formalize this into tools for project management. I've been using these tools on a more informal level, but we'll see. And then I hope you could help me in this in making this like an actual project management tool. So the first one is this tool, which is like looking at your luck surface area. So meaning, so we're doing now crowdfunding. Um, so what more could we do, and what more could we um, what more could we um, tell so that we could get more lucky? So my process here is to um, to do create a communications management plan, but for increasing luck. So for instance here, so I'll just like brainstorm with you. So here, who are our sources of possible luck? So so luck is like, this is the opposite of risk management. The thing with risk management is that you want to know as much as possible what you're managing. So the risks. That's what we did. We created the risk-based structure, and we try to score which ones are more probable, higher impact, so that we can focus on the highest scoring risks. So the thing with luck is that by definition, we cannot know what good thing we're gonna encounter. Um, so, but I suppose there are some things as well which are predictable, which are like, who are our sources of possible luck? I mean, that could be, they could increase our luck. For this project, I think it's really like um, our followers. Um, yep, our followers in Twitter, and then of course, our teammates. Now this should be higher. Teammates, and then our supporters, and then we have our professional contacts outside of Twitter. Um, so meaning, who do we tell about the things that are happening? Um, for instance, right now we just got funding, a micro grant from Just One Giant Lab. So I think, instead of excuse me, um, I think we should take advantage of that. So some sort of celebratory blog post or press release. Um, so um, yeah, do you have any other ideas here as we do this, what you call this, brainstorming? Press release, medium is like direct message, and then the timing is um, I'll do this next week, so May 3, and then the owner is me. So so I'll just do this for the rest of this brainstorming. Yeah, I could already see that this press release that we are doing, I'll be sending a lot of direct messages asking for help. Professional contacts here, you could include here the yeah, just a note for myself. Um, Bruno and Ashish, do you have any inputs or questions regarding this particular exercise?
Now, I'm just thinking, so I know you showed the framework that it has to be maximize work and maximize or increase work, hard work and communication. So I'm just wondering if there are factors other than that, because that has to do with inputs and interaction. But then there are, because I was thinking, I like the concept of flipping the risk management framework. But when you look at risks, then they are, the ones that you can control, and then the ones that you don't control. So you end up with a factor, the difference, which is to be managed. So similarly, if we were to align to the same in an opposite way, then there are some elements that can bring in good luck and you can control them. And then the others are beyond control. So then what's the residual or the delta that you need to manage? That was my chain of thought, but I'm just thinking aloud, not in specific direction.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you. I think the next section would answer that. In this case, I think I will exchange this because, like, right now we're not really. I mean, we're already doing a lot of things. I think what was missing is that we need to maximize the communication of all those good things. So I don't think we systematically did that, and I think we could have been luckier if we were more systematic in telling people the good news. So I think that's something I need to include in the project work breakdown structure. The the work of telling our stakeholders and other possible sources of serendipity the good news as the project happens. So that's why maybe project reporting and all that celebrations are important. It increases your luck. Any questions before we move on to the next exercise here, Bruno and Ashish?
Could you just go back a little bit on the two tweets, because
Okay.
I don't have Twitter access here, so I can't read the tweets, and you have been going fast on them. So, uh, sorry,
This one.
I don't know. It just allow me to read. Being lucky is like having a large catchment area for life random. Your funeral is doing and telling Mother Day on it. Okay, and go down a little bit. Okay, so three. Okay, in one side it's missing. Okay, you can guarantee that you can consciously make yourself more lucky. So slow, 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 slow. Don't go too fast. Back. All kinds of luck. Pick active habits and good strategy.
Okay.
Mm,
So here in this
yeah,
drawing, this is essentially the same one as the one above. The interesting here is like, well, he has this way of dividing four types of luck, and then he also has this habits and strategies to increase your luck. For instance, like prospecting, like doing outreach on people who could possibly make you lucky. So my framing is a bit different. Wherein it's like these ones are, I guess, baked in the these what you call this these exercises.
I have one. I wouldn't say it's an objection, but I have one thing I notice now is that each of your actions on the that you have been listing here, the message medium people, we have already seen these actions somewhere. I don't remember in which chapter.
Mhm.
It was either on the charter or on the work breakouts.
It was
Because
in.
each of these actions are time. They will take time. So if they take time, they need to be in the work breakout structure.
Yes, yeah. And
You
then
agree?
yes. So what I
So
think
there
what you
should be a
remember.
correspondence between the two. Let's put it in another way. You have a small project, let's say $1,000, all right? And you want to be sure it succeeds. So there is one way to make sure it succeeds is to spend a huge time promoting it.
Yes.
But if the time promoting it is taking more than doing the project itself, you are not going back on your money if you end up. So it must be in the project. Uh, yes, it was a communication plan. Okay, stakeholder all the analysis and communication plan. So in my opinion, we should see a connection between those two.
Yes. And also the work-based structure. So like the when you do your communications plan, it will increase your work. It will increase your budget. It might increase your risks as well. No? So you're balancing all these things. So um, and this one as well will increase. This might end up here in the communications plan. It will end up in the
Yes.
WBS. So as I mean, your part of your role really as a project manager is also to excuse me, balance all these things. Um, so now we're planning out what are the possibilities, but in reality, you know, I could never, I don't have the capacity to do all these things. But at least I'm conscious at choosing which, where I'm putting my time and money. Is it, will I prioritize getting lucky more than protecting myself from the downside risks? All those things.
Now you have to consider fabricating luck as being the opposite of risk. I think it's a little bit what Ashish was explaining,
Mhm.
as how do you make a rational choice between all these actions, which are all optional. They are not contributing directly to the project.
Mhm.
They are all optional on top of what you need to do. And they have the possibility to increase the likelihood of success. So,
Or or even
how will you
redefine
prioritize?
success. That's something I don't know how to answer at this point, and it might be
Okay.
different for each project. It is different for each project, so I don't know yet how what's the overall, if there's a tool, if there's a process actually of thinking through this. It's just gonna be like you just imagine all these aspects of your project, the work needed, when it's supposed to happen in your schedule, the communications, the risks. So and then all these things need to be need to work together for you to achieve something. And now you're even thinking of changing what the project may be based on good fortune, something like that. So I don't know. It's it's like you have to play the game when you're there. Like you have when you're trained to be a basketball player. It's like there's no formula when you're already playing the game. You're in a game. You have been trained how to dribble, to pass, to shoot. You know how to play as a team. At some point, you have to decide how you play, and that's it. That's depending on what the game itself at the moment is. So when you're doing the project, like I'm just doing this project right now, I have to decide day by day what is the most important thing. Is it to increase my luck? Is it to protect against risks? So at least I have a map of what I could do, what I could focus on. So I think that's how I would put it.
Yeah. The other thing which I but the question of luck, the question of risk is let's start by risk. The question of risk uh, is based on pragmatism. It's very much about rationality.
Mhm.
The question of luck is very cultural. Some people see good luck as something very important. Some people are less depending on luck. So that's where also there is a cultural aspect where it will be interesting.
Yes. Yep.
If you look at if you look at the Chinese, for example, I say the Chinese country in general, luck is coming regularly in the discussions, and good fortune is very used as a word. So if you are immersed in the French culture, you will rarely hear about luck. It's not something that comes around very often. Usually, you wish good luck when somebody is really in a big trouble. You say somebody is sick, is going to hospital. You say good luck. It means you really need luck because you are in real big trouble. Uh, you see
Yes,
why I
yes.
say it's very cultural. So if you replace good fortune by increasing chance of success, then it's a different, it has a different connotation for me,
Mhm.
because now we are not talking about luck, we are talking about success. Of course, there is a factor of luck in success. Everybody knows that. But the job is to reduce the dependency on luck, or I would say it in a different way. The goal is to transform luck into certitude, something you can count on.
Yeah, I think this is going to be very a deep conversation because yes, if we're going to the core of how projects could be viewed. One is like to control everything. I mean, this a very that's the default mindset of most project managers because you want to have as much control as possible. But at the same time, if you have the ability or the power to change your project midstream, no? What if there's something better? No? And that is not something within the definition of the project or its success. You are changing the definition of success. So this is this outside project management even, no?
Mhm.
Because it will change the project. So that's and then the the Chinese tradition of good fortune and luck, it's similar to like Chinese medicine or you know Eastern medicine. It's based on non-rational but traditional, possibly working practices. You know, so we don't know why it works. It just works. So like in when people design houses here in the Philippines or Chinese people design houses in the Philippines, they call on a feng shui master, which is someone who looks at what is the lucky design of a house. And a lot of architects say that this one is good design. It's just like they frame it differently. It's not the rationalist Western architecture mindset. It is through tradition. So I think what we're doing here is that we're trying to rationalize what has been always like based on tradition, like like the like like treating your first customer really well because it's called the bueno mano here, the good start. So first customer sets the tone. It's like there's a rational explanation to that, I imagine. No, but that's a tradition. So here I think we are put.
It's a tradition. It's a tradition in Europe as well, because we know that if you have a good customer, uh, you will increase your reputation,
Mhm.
and you will increase the likelihood that this customer will recommend you. So I agree with you. Tradition is very often a compilation, a compression of knowledge acquired over a very long time by multiple generation, which means that in many cases, the people who convey this knowledge don't know why it happened like this. because they only received the compiled version of the knowledge, not the reasoning behind it. Yet, I think the question of luck, I think it's more a question of transforming luck into certitude.
Yeah, that's we could talk about that in some, because like it's I my intuition is that it certitude kills the luck anyway, but
Yeah,
we
that's of course, that's a feeling we have, but it's a little bit like this with risk. If you anticipate risk and mitigate the risk, does it increase the risk,
you're
in
trying
your
to kill
opinion?
you're trying to kill the risks actually.
You try to kill the risk.
Yes.
So if I am as the manager, if I'm managing a project, what I want is to kill the luck.
No, you want the opposite. You want the luck to live.
Yeah, but
so
no, I want to remove the you see, that's also a question of vocabulary.
yeah,
I
yeah,
want to
yeah,
remove the randomness of luck, not
yeah,
the benefit, but I want to remove the randomness.
yeah. You
Or
so
in another way, in talking in your language,
Mhm.
I want to increase the probability to almost one, and I want to reduce the impact if it fails.
Actually, you want to maximize the impact and you maximize the probability of luck. No?
Yes. So you have the opposite goal as with risk.
Yes, yes. The, so the key now is like, how do you do that? That's the question. How do you do that? How do you increase the impact?
You are doing it. That's what you are explaining. For
Yes.
example, if you want good, you assume, and that's not told somewhere, but you assume that serendipity and encounters with people is beneficial to your project.
Mm-hmm.
That you didn't say it, but that's an assumption you make. Because these people could come with money, they could come with ideas, or they can recommend you to a customer, or they can recommend you to somebody who has the skill you need, and so on. So basically, the idea is if you are not working in your cave, if you are working in a garage but with open doors,
Mm-hmm.
you have more chance of success.
Yep. You have more
Okay,
luck.
that's a general wisdom. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And now what you are doing with your communication, you are increasing the possibility that this happen.
Yep.
Now, the difference with the stakeholder communication is with the stakeholder communication, you want to be reassuring. You gave me money and I'm spending it well.
Mm-hmm.
You are paying for this house and this house is being built. While if you want to communicate the way you show, you are more communicating very early. And you are even being a little bit transparent. You are communicating the risks you are taking. So it's not exactly the same communication.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Uh, imagine you're communicating with your stakeholders. It will always be positive. We succeeded in doing that. We have done all this. You will never tell what you didn't do, what you are late, or what you did wrong, or at least you will minimize it.
Yeah. Unless
But
you need their help in it.
if you communicate always so much positively, you are not attracting help. Somewhere to attract help, you need to be transparent and approachable. So we are working on this. It's very interesting, but we are not able to finish this. We are not able to understand properly this part or whatever. Then suddenly people pour in and say, oh yes, but we know somebody who can help you, and we
Hmm.
know how to do this, and so on and so on. You see, now the
Yes, yes.
communication is not very it's not really the same. And now you have to balance, because your stakeholders will always also read it.
Yep, yep. No, yeah, the you want also to share with them the key risks and the key challenges in the project, because also you want the stakeholders are there or your sponsors are there to remove obstacles for you. So it's also a
That's
key
true.
part of project communications, what your problems are. So anyhow, let's just go through the other aspects of this exercise so that we could see how we are applying these principles in real life. So the four types of luck, I'm gonna also copy this, and then let's think about how we could do this um, for this particular project. So for instance, how do we increase? So there's no way to increase dumb luck. It just happens. Or, but how to notice it? Um, like I'm thinking that perhaps a you know in our project meeting, um, maybe a gratitude practice the in our team meeting might help, because like I'm translating what worked for me personally, and then translating this into a project management. So as a project team, if you talk about good things that happen to us, maybe related to the project, then maybe this could be a way of noticing luck. Um, I think that's the same for luck from action. So how to increase that? Who do you tell? So luck from action. I'm wondering. Um, yeah, this is really just increasing. Our press releases. Now I'm realizing the importance of press releases right now, and outreach. So we're gonna maximize our this news of getting a new micro grant from Just One Giant Lab. And then how do we notice this? I think this would be the same. Gratitude practice. I think that's it. I don't know if there's other things. Luck from expertise. The more you increase your expertise, the luckier you could get with this type of luck. So, you know, um, in our case, this is expertise in genomics and expertise in executing the project. So the more we know about situations in different countries on deploying genomics, the better, the more luckier we are. So, um, um, I don't know yet. I have to think about this. Reputation as well. I think this one is connected as well with spreading the good news about the project, because we are increasing our reputation. The more good news or the more achievements we we put out there. So I already mentioned the gratitude list, um, the huddle, which is a regular meeting with among peers. I don't know yet how I could translate this into the project management setting outside of my own personal conversation with people. Um, it might be possible to actually create a huddle based on um, do the huddle with people who have the power to increase luck for this particular project I'm doing. Because in the past, my huddles have been, with people who are not really, I mean, are not from the domain of genomics. So I'm thinking maybe a new huddle in the with people in genomics or life sciences. So that might be it. A monthly meeting with entrepreneurs or other people who are in the life sciences. So that's one idea. Daily gratitude list. So I'll include that in the project and PM meeting, project management meeting, in the project meeting, team meeting. Yeah, and then tools for um, exploiting good fortune. Let me just copy this whole thing. I'm thinking of you know filling this out as a team. Our time. Where do we? What are our sources of slack in terms of time as a team? Sources of tightness as a team. So I think I'll just bring them together, and then we could do this exercise with the team. Now, I did this for my own, personal projects, and that's why I was able to make some hard, drastic decisions on what to cut out. So I had to pull myself out of my two online huddles, Zoom meetings. I had to stop studying Spanish, my daily SRS, so that I could focus on my four top projects. So I think we could also do this as a team. So that's my thinking about that. And also within the project right now, this project Accessible Genomics, we are doing different things. So we have to think about which ones are the aspects of the project or the different projects within this bigger multi-project effort, which ones could bring us closest to our goals. So those are basically the things I'm gonna apply for increasing the luck in this project. Um, just a time check. We're 9 minutes before the end of the hour. So any questions or comments?
Not really.
Cool. Anyhow, I'll. Do you think you are you guys also interested in applying this to your projects? Do you see anything here that you could apply to your current project?
Yes, but I need to think a little bit about it.
Mhm. Anyway, just I'll send you the link to that page and just see. I'm really interested in hearing your what you call this real life application. Yeah, for your projects.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's now it as I say, it's maybe a domain where the translation across culture is not easy.
mhm. Also the
So
yeah, also the what you call this. I imagine this doesn't make a lot of sense for uh, you know project managers who are hired to to do to execute projects because you are working within the bounds of the the project definition. So in this case, it necessarily will change the project definition. So this is more applicable to projects which you yourself own or which you are yourself the biggest sponsor or stakeholder.
yeah, um, Another thing I would like to see is when we reach the time of lesson learned, of how you learn from the execution of the project to increase your awareness and experience in running more projects, how it will relate to this chapter,
Mm,
because it looks like this is very much something you learn from your own experience.
mhm.
And since you learn from your own experience, the how did you learn from your own experience will be interesting.
Yes, yes.
I will tell you in another way. How did you come from running project to uh, articulating this knowledge?
Yes, that's something I'm also curious about. I have to think through my history with this idea. I think it was I think it was Naval Ravikant who
Sorry, it was.
Naval Ravikant who I who reignited this idea. I'm not sure if I heard it before. I have a feeling that I heard about the four types of luck even before that. I think it was familiar. Luck surface area definitely was from the lean startup movement. So it just and then I applied it. I applied these ideas back in 2019, 2020, and they worked out very well for me. So that's why I want to. It was my attempt to actually codify those things I tried out during that year because I want more of this actually. 2020, as bad as it was maybe probably the luckiest year of my life. So many good things happened out of the chaos from that year. So it's like I want to make this part of my playbook. That's why I also want to write about it and be helpful for other people as well. So yeah, when doing projects, I want now to also consider fabrication of luck.
I'm not, I don't say there is anything wrong in it. I just say that I'm interested. Uh, I tend to be more willing to try things when I have done and I'm sure of the process that bring them.
Yeah, this is probably the most untested
It,
part of this playbook because like the rest,
yeah,
I sort of just inherited them from decades, maybe even centuries of project managers. This one, like I had to take this from other sources. So we'll see. This I'm interested in this. I want this to be part of my playbook. That's basically it. You know, and might as well
the
share it with
the
other people.
the the danger of Twitter is that people share ideas, but they are really floating them. They take an idea they have, uh, they send it on Twitter like you send a balloon in the air. Uh, the kids send the balloon with a little label at the bottom of the balloon, and
Mhm.
maybe somebody will catch it. And if there is a lot of retweets and if people are engaging on the discussion, then the idea was good. It's not because it's a good idea, it's just because it becomes a popular idea. So you have like a vote by popularity.
Mhm.
And there is no real critical discussion on Twitter.
I
There is
would.
no real contradiction. You rarely have people, unless they are very good at it, who are discussing something. I mean, it's more a phenomenon of uh, trend.
Yeah. Cool.
So the we have to be, I'm using Twitter a lot. We have to be very careful when we use something coming out of Twitter.
Yep, yep. Well, it's been like a couple of years. By the way, thank you so much, Ashish. Ashish just chatted that he has to go.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
yeah,
Bye bye.
I'll see you around next week, Ashish. So anyhow, yeah, that's another topic, Bruno, to talk about the usage of Twitter. But this particular thing, in this like fabricating luck, this is something I've been trying to apply in my projects, and I've seen some good outcomes there. So these frameworks or these practices is my early attempts to actually codify what I learned in increasing my luck in projects. So yeah, of course.
It's interesting. It's interesting. I'm not saying no. I just say uh,
Yeah.
needs a little bit more time to validate.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and I appreciate the feedback because that's one key reason why I want to present this to you. Because for this to make it to the book, it has to go through these conversations. Cool.
Okay.
Right, Bruno. Yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, so we can discuss further in the Slack if need be. But yeah, this is something also I have to think a lot about. Like how do you actually and actually practice this? I'm going to use this for this project and see what happens, and also share it again in Twitter for people to see and maybe use them. Just get as much
Yes.
feedback as possible on these ideas. Cool. All right. So have a great day ahead, Bruno. Thank you so
Bye
much, and
bye.
see you. Bye bye.
See you.